If you train Jiu Jitsu 2 to 3 days a week, then this video is for you. Because there's this idea in Jiu Jitsu, and it's been around for a while. Maybe you've heard it. That unless you're training like an athlete or a competitor, then you're just a hobbyist. And that being a hobbyist means you're not that serious, or that you're lacking in some way. But that idea is built on a flawed assumption. I've seen hobbyists who train 2 or 3 days a week and treat their bodies like pros, tracking recovery, refining their rolls, lifting smart, and eating clean. So today, I'm calling complete BS on this idea, because there's nothing weak or less than about being a hobbyist. In fact, when done correctly, it might be the smartest, most sustainable path for longevity. So let's talk about why being a hobbyist in Jiu Jitsu is not only something to embrace, but something you should be proud of. Welcome to the Alchemy of Struggle, baby. So in some circles in Jiu Jitsu, the term hobbyist is used almost like a slur. And it's why a lot of people who actually are hobbyists fight against this terminology. So if you're not training like a full-time athlete, you're just a casual. It's not the hobbyist who resists training like an athlete. It's jiu-jitsu culture itself that takes pride in thumbing their noses at traditional conventions of athletic training. So it's not a hobbyist problem. It is a jiu-jitsu culture problem. So the real problem is pretending like you don't need off-the-mat work to improve your jiu-jitsu. That's not martial arts. That's just negligent and unintelligent. Listen, I talked about this in a video that I did earlier on this channel, how shocked I was when I first started training jiu-jitsu at the number of people, seasoned jiu-jitsu players, who took pride in needing nothing more than jiu-jitsu. Oh, I don't strength train. We don't need that in jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu is all the cardiovascular training that I need. And coming from an athletic background, having wrestled in high school, and looking at what jiu-jitsu people do on the mats, it was common sense to me that there should be strength training and additional cardiovascular work. Yet, I ran into countless purple belts, brown belts, even black belts, who would proclaim jiu-jitsu is all I need. I don't need the rest of that stuff. So let me get this straight then. You don't lift, you don't do mobility work. You're not that concerned about dialing in your sleep and your diet. And you call me a hobbyist like it's something bad? If that's the case, man, I will be a hobbyist all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's deal with this false premise. Because there is a hidden assumption when we accuse people of being hobbyists, that hobbyists can't or don't train like athletes. But many of us do. You know why? Because we're older and we have lives outside of jiu-jitsu that require us to be very careful with our bodies. We have to manage injuries and we have to balance work and family along with our jiu-jitsu training. Hobbyists often take recovery and nutrition, mobility, and mental prep more seriously than a lot of competitors. Meanwhile, we have competitors who completely get burned out, put trash in their bodies, skip strength training, and destroy their bodies for what? A $10 medal. Look, take myself for instance. I'll call myself a hobbyist, no problem. But if you've been around this space for a while, you know what my protocols are. I've dialed in my sleep, I've dialed in my strength training, I've dialed in my diet and my mobility work. I take my work off the mat just as seriously as my work on the mat. And I'm not the only one. I have seen people who started jiu-jitsu and they were first told this story of, oh, all you need is jiu-jitsu. But then they quickly realized that, I need to lift weights to protect my joints. It's something that they discovered on their own, despite what the prevailing culture tells them. So what defines a serious practitioner of jiu-jitsu? It's not their tournament record. It's their intentionality. Do you show up with purpose? Do you reflect on your roles? Do you care about your body like it needs to last you for decades, not just for a few years while you're chasing medals. That's mat maturity. That's martial maturity. That's the way. And so don't run from the term hobbyist. Redefine it for what it actually is. And, dare I say, own it. Because being a hobbyist doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise. You've integrated Jiu Jitsu in your life in a way that supports longevity, growth, and health. If you take nothing else away from this, remember this: being a competitor is temporary, but being a martial artist is forever. And the serious hobbyist, the one who trains with intention, might be the purest martial artist left in the room. So that's it, guys. Hopefully we can put this whole hobbyist backhanded slur to bed once and for all. And as always, I want to thank the subscribers. I want to thank those of you who keep putting those amazing comments under these videos. You guys are really making me think, making me rethink some of my own ideas and conclusions. And I have personally experienced a great deal of growth just by reading some of your comments. So something I'm thinking about is doing a weekly live stream. If that's something you guys are interested in, let me know in the comments, because some of these discussions require a lot more depth than what we can provide in the comment section. And if that's something people are interested in, we'll do it. And make sure you check out last week's video if you have not watched it. It'll be linked at the end of this video. And remember, there are people out there who need this message, so let's help them find it. Like, share, and subscribe. Keep up the good fight and stay safe on those mats. Peace.